My boyfriend of almost 3 years broke up with me but is now regretting it and wants me back. Am I an idiot if I take him back? My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 3 years. We met in college, we're on the same sports team and we have the same friendship group. It was a really healthy relationship, it was also both our first long-term relationship. He ticked pretty much a lot of my boxes. He was caring, kind, patient with me, knew how to communicate well, funny, just a lot of amazing things. During our entire relationship, I can count how many times we fought on one hand. Yes, we had disagreements now and then, but we also made sure to prioritize communicating whenever we weren't happy with something in order to avoid conflict. We're both non-confrontational people and I'm extremely emotional, so this was something that worked in both of our favors. The relationship wasn't perfect, of course. There were ups and downs, but I know my worth, and if he ever did something to hurt me, as much as I love him and care for him, I would have left. We do long distance whenever it's time to go home for Christmas or summer. And when I say long distance, I mean long distance. I'm from the UK, he is American. I'm an international student, smiley face. He did make a trip to the UK this past Christmas and I spent Thanksgiving with his family. Yes, the distance is a little hard over the summer, but it's not the worst and we've managed to make it work. As for our future post-college, this is something he kind of avoided talking about, just always saying when the time comes we'll figure it out whenever I would question him about it. I'm someone who needs to plan for things, whereas he's more relaxed / goes with the flow. We're now seniors and it's definitely time to talk about it. Unfortunately, he broke up with me as soon as I came back to the States to begin senior year. His excuse, in my opinion, was weird. I know he's entitled to feel whatever way he feels, but basically he was like he doesn't want to do what he's about to do but feels like he has to. That he still loves me but feels like the distance is too much and that he needs to figure out his future without me. I'm not mad at him, a little, but mainly mad at the situation. It feels like he just led me on all summer. Apparently he had been thinking about ending it all summer, and ends it me after acting like normal for the whole day yesterday. He bought me a card, kept telling me how much he's missed me, loves me, etc. He bought me food, chill all day, and then he goes, "We need to talk." Fast forward to 4 days later, I've told a lot of my friends about the breakup. Most of our group knows. They're sad for the both of us, have been there for me and him. There's no sides in the breakup. It was sad, it was heartbreaking, but it wasn't messy. I don't hate him at all. I'll never beg someone to want to be with me. Gosh, I've been processing it little by little, wrapping my head around WTF happened, because it really did catch me by surprise. He sends me a text asking if we can talk. I tell him sure. I go over to his place and he starts breaking down, saying he made a mistake and that 2 of our friends in our group also told him that he fucked up. I don't know how I feel. He basically said that he regretted it the next day and that he knows the excuse was bullshit and that he got scared and took the easy way out and that he's heartbroken and knows he hurt me and that if I don't take him back he understands but he wants me back and that he doesn't know why he was so scared of the future, that the distance does scare him but he doesn't care anymore and that he wants to do whatever it takes to gain my trust back, that he loves me and he's so sorry that he hurt me. That he wants a future with me and he wants to see this through and that he's an idiot. I asked him how does he know it's not because he's lonely and that he actually wants me. He said he just knows. That he got scared and tried to take the coward's way out instead of working this out together. That the past 4 days have been extremely hard for him and that he immediately knew he messed up the next day but wanted to give it a few days so it wasn't like he was messing with my head. He told me to take my time with my answer. I said thank you for telling me and left. My head is scrambled. I know what my heart wants. I want to go back there but my head is telling me I shouldn't, that he hurt me a lot. I'm worried about outside perspectives, they'll think I'm being stupid. Also, I never wanted to be that relationship who constantly break up and make up. Am I an idiot if I go back into that relationship? Comment. Don't worry about outside perspective, he said, just before offering his outside perspective, / there's nothing wrong with wanting to be with the person you love, or giving a second chance, most of the time. It's quite common for couples to break up and then get back together. I know plenty solid relationships that went through that, including my own. So you wouldn't be an idiot. That said, the distance will still be there between you two and the tough conversation about the future still needs to happen. If you get back together, what will change? I think this is the perfect time for having that discussion. His fears about the distance are quite legit, so before making any decision you should talk about where this relationship is going and what the two of you want. If someone wants to leave, then they can realize their decision. Since making a rash decision appears to not have a lot of thought process behind it for him, what happens when he decides to peace out again down the line? Also, from your description, he didn't seem to give you any real reason. Maybe some other interest fell through? I'd be considering other options personally. No. He had all summer to apparently think and decided to break up with you. His decision-making skills are apparently so poor that weeks of thought proved incorrect? If he really cared about you so much, why did this even occur? And more importantly, why didn't he talk to you? The person he apparently loves and cares about so much, that he can just make a major decision without a conversation. Next story 2. I am lonely after moving cross-country with my fiancé. My fiancé and I just moved across the country 2 months ago. We're an 18-hour drive from my hometown in the Midwest, where my entire family still lives. Before this, the furthest I'd ever been from them was when I was living 3 hours away during undergrad. I am very close with my family and this move has been really hard on me. My fiancé is not as close with his family and none of them live in the Midwest. They're scattered down the east and west coasts, but we're still 10 hours away from his nearest family member. I can tell that he's really trying to understand how I'm feeling and be supportive, but he just doesn't understand what it's like to lose your family when you have such a tight bond with them. My fiancé is also having an easier time making friends at work than I am due to the nature of his position. I love my job and it is definitely a positive thing about moving here, but I'm often working independently and on a different schedule from others, which has made it hard to connect with colleagues. Also, the way that my fiancé and my schedules are set up, he works 4 days a week, I work 5 days a week, he's usually home from work 3 to 4 hours after I am, sometimes later if he has dinner scheduled with colleagues, drug reps, etc. This leaves me home alone most nights. I'm just incredibly lonely in a way that I've never had to deal with before. I talk to my family daily, but feel like I can't tell them how lonely I am because I don't want them to resent my fiancé for moving us here. I never wanted to stay in my hometown, but I never would have thought to move this far away if it wasn't for my fiancé. I want to give it more time, but I'm finding myself becoming increasingly resentful toward my fiancé for instigating this move. Have others experienced feelings like this after moving and how have you dealt with them? How do you combat loneliness after moving to an area where you know literally no one? Comment. Feel for you. I read about this situation being very common for couples who move for a job. So, there's 2 issues here, which are intensified by your isolation from your family. Loneliness due to conflicts in work schedules, and loneliness due to not being able to make new social connections. For your lack of time with your partner, this likely needs a discussion dedicated solely to this. Like, reserving at least one weekday to just spend time together, and planning things on the weekend, along with more frequent text messaging, or escalated type of messaging. But, this is a thing that you both have to work on and come to an agreement. But don't surprise him with the discussion. You should have a clear goal you want to be the result, along with a compromise, and let him know you want to discuss it and that you want him to have a clear goal as a result with a compromise, without telling each other what the details are until you start talking about how to resolve this issue. For the social connections, being away from friends and family sucks, and digital communications is not the same. Are you able to invest your extra time into a project? Like a hobby or more education? Is there a community group to meet up and do stuff? Going to the gym, yoga, dance, martial arts? All of these things can lead to interacting with others with similar interests, and that's the key to finding new social connections. Also, I did a comment about how to practice socializing. It is geared towards how to pick up chicks, but concept behind it is to be social, involve yourself in more group activities, expand your interests, and practice. If you're interested, ignore the part about romance, you've got that covered. Time makes things better also. If you have ample time away from work, cling in a club or event or group may help.